Someone once asked me, what's the strangest Famicom cartridge? After all, the Famicom does have a lot of unusual games and strange cartridge shapes, but the single weirdest of them all? Hands down, Nantettatte Baseball. It's not the game itself that's weird, it's yet another in a long line of baseball games on the Famicom that's just Family Stadium all over again. But let's get a side view here. Now that isn't normal. This is one thick game cart. What's it gonna do with all that junk in its trunk? Well, let's take the cartridge out and have a look. Well, there's actually a cartridge slot on the back of Nantettatte Baseball. Sunsoft's idea was that rather than buying a new revision of the baseball game every year, you'd buy smaller cartridges that would plug into this and update the stats. The technology was a real problem for them. I was seeing advertisements for Nantettatte Baseball in February 1989 game magazines. So this was delayed a long time. And how'd this plan work out for them? Well, in 1991 they released 2 update cartridges for it, and that was it. Those update cartridges are actually fairly rare. The first one goes for about 5,000 to 6,000 yen. The second one goes for over 60,000 yen. They're not cheap to get, and I already resent having to buy as much baseball for the Famicom as I do. There's no way I'm spending over $500 to change some numbers on this game. This would be a good point to mention that Nantettatte Baseball is also the biggest error I have in Famidaily. When I set up my episode list 2 years ago, there were 3 cartridges I left off that I shouldn't have, and 2 cartridges I left on the list that should have been removed. I didn't recognize my error until I was almost 6 months into the project, and since I reference other episode numbers quite a bit, I didn't want to just pull them out. So that's why we've had bonus episodes for Family Basic and Karaoke. But to keep things on track, I'm going to have episodes for the Nantettatte Baseball expansion cartridges. At least they'll go fast. With those explanations taken care of, we can get into Nantettatte Baseball itself. Nantettatte, by the way, is an exclamation of surprise, so something like, what the hell? There's a few different game modes here. You could just choose to play one match, or you could play a pennant race. There's also a mode that lets up to 6 players join forces to play, and a home run derby. There are 2 teams that you can edit, and modifications to them are saved to the cartridge. On the field, there's absolutely no surprises here. When you're batting, hit A to swing. When you're pitching, push in a direction, then hit A to pitch. It looks like the exact same kind of baseball that we've seen 25 times at this point. I did encounter a few strange things though. First, when I was playing against the computer, it was really good at hitting home runs. I mean disturbingly good at hitting home runs. I was run out in the 3rd inning in my first game, and it hit 5 home runs against me. The second thing is that this game plays really slow. The pitching feels a bit slower than usual, and the on-field action is super slow. Both the base runners and the fielders really take their time getting around. Naturally, Nantettatte Baseball has the standard problem of the computer fielding perfectly, while you have to deal with off-screen fielders or the ball just not being visible for a long time. Those aren't huge problems, but when you're considering how much competition there is for baseball on the Famicom, it puts Nantettatte Baseball in the lower tier of baseball games. The only other notable feature that it has is you can play day or night games in certain stadiums, but the only effect there seems to be the backdrop. Even in Japan, the only thing that Nantettatte Baseball is known for is that weird cartridge. Nobody wants it, nobody wants to play it, and if it wasn't for the fact that it makes collecting everything that you could possibly play on the Famicom extra difficult, nobody would even remember it.